Shadow Pidgeot fires off the Brave Bird, landing for massive damage. The opponent going to be forced to throw. King going to save his final Protect Shield for the one and only GOAT Shadow Swampert. Back out comes the GOAT. We fire off the Hydro Cannon, securing the knockout. Back out comes Empoleon, and it's time to hit him with that Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon. Welcome back to the channel. As you can see on the screen today, I get the pleasure of shoutcasting my good friend and fellow content creator, King GBL. If you enjoy my content, you'll 100% enjoy King's. We're both pretty similar in a lot of aspects. We both like to trash talk, give Pokemon funky names, and say it exactly how it is. King was actually nice enough to put this entire video together for me. All I've got to do is add commentary, so as always, I'm eternally grateful for his help and support. That leads me very nicely to some exciting news for the channel. I'm desperately saving to add a laptop, so hopefully at the start of season 19, which isn't all that far away, not only my videos look more like this, we'll also add streaming to the platform. However, let's get into today's video. King is bringing out one of my favourite Pokemon, the Pokemon I've named the GOAT, the one and only Shadow Swampert. In my opinion, the greatest Pokemon of all time. Give it an inch and it will take a mile. Of course, only being weak to grass, we've got two things that counter grass in the back. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we see the Steel Penguin in the lead, exactly where the team wants to see it this season. Empoleon got access to Steel Wing. That is now very advantageous for Swampert, as before the waterfalls heavily chunked us. You can see there's no need for Earthquake. We're running that Sludge Wave to nuke unsuspecting grass types. We land the Hydro Cannon, the opponent forced to Protect Shield with their own Hydro Cannon and Safe Switch into Sableye. Swampert fires off the Hydro Cannon, forcing a Protect Shield, and we see the pivot into Pidgeot. This OG Kanto Flyer can survive any one move. A return nor a power gem will get the job done, the opponent recognising that and looks to go for the double foul play. King just uses Pidgeot as the third and the fourth shield, sacrificing it to the Pokegods. We then send back out Swampert. Swampert farms up, fires off the Hydro Cannon, securing the knockout. The opponent send out Annihilate, then pivot back out into Empoleon. King says thank you very much, fires off the Hydro Cannon. Swampert claims yet another victim. We're going to instantly pivot into Frostlass, and that is just going to be game over. In the one shield, the opponent's going to be unable to Night Slash bait and then land a Shadow Ball before we reach the double avalanche. The opponent looks to call the bait, but no bait call is going to save this opponent's fate, and King is off to a 1-0 start. GG's and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see some Shadow and Shadow crime. Swampert versus Alolan Ninetales. Usually these two are partners in crime, forming a very good core. King farms up, fires off the Hydro Cannon, forcing early shield advantage. King happy to match Protect Shields. Swampert and Ninetales pace at exactly the same speed to their charge moves, 10 to the first and 8 to the second. King also has the advantage that Swampert has the higher attack and able to win the charge attack priority. The opponent goes 2 shields down and King, happy to match Protect Shields. We then see the Simul swap. King looks to catch the Weather Ball onto Frostlass, and the opponent tries their luck at catching the Hydro Cannon onto Poliwrath. King fires off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball rocks Poliwrath down to around a third health. The opponent is going to return fire with the Scald, but Scald isn't going to get the job done. The opponent looking for the double resisted counter farm down, but Frostlass says no. Reach the Avalanche, securing the knockout. That mid game was so quick, whatever the opponent sends back out is still going to be switched. Like Ninetales comes back out, gets the Powder Snow farm down, but all the energy is about to go in the bin. Get that Ninetales off the screen. The opponent's final Pokemon is Unova Stunfisk, and Swampert is running rampant. Hydro Cannon rocks Stunfisk deep into the red. This Pancake's finally going to vanquish Swampert from the battlefield, but the GOAT's put in so much work that Pidgeot is now going to be a Stunfisk counter confirmed. One discharge isn't going to get the job done. King committing to their Brave Bird because why not? The opponent says fuck that and they're going to concede the match. GG's and thanks for playing. Swampert usage might be down, but my god, is this thing still a monster. In the next battle, we see the Steel Penguin in the lead. The opponent says switches into Gligar. A very interesting counter swap. We fire off the Hydro Cannon, forcing us early shield advantage and then send out Frostlass. I'm so confused. What is this opponent doing? They farm up a boatload of energy, end up playing to the CMP tile. They do not win, and then they're forced to burn the final Protect Shield. King says enjoy yourself. He's happy with his 2-0 shield advantage. Please throw, trainer. Please throw. This opponent in absolute shambles. They attempt to wing attack farm down, but end up getting Powder Snow farm down. They're 2 shields down, and they haven't got Switch. I think it's very apparent why King cut this trainer name out. All the other trainer names are in the video, but I think King was probably thinking I'm going to offend this person on the off chance they're watching. Don't get me wrong, we all make misplays now and again, however these battles are around 2900 to 3000 elo, so you'd imagine the opponent at least knows it takes 6 powder snows to an avalanche. King banks a boatload of energy on Swampert, then sends out Pidgeot. Pidgeot gonna unleash the Brave Bird. Brave Bird rocks Cresselia deep into the red. King's just gonna save his final Protect Shield for the goat Swampert, and the goat is on cleanup mission. We send back out Swampert, fire off the Hydro Cannon. It's gonna be high Cresselia, by Cresselia. Back out is gonna come the Penguin, and it's gonna be Hydro Cannon, Hydro Cannon for the dub. GG's and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see the goat into the UFO. What a lead. The opponent once again completely core broken by Swampert. However, to be honest, we don't really have a great Charizard answer. We force ourselves early shield advantage. It looks like King's happy to stay in. The issue with this is none of our backline fancy Magnezone whatsoever. King is going to have to look to pivot at some stage and save Swampert. We fire off the Hydro Cannon, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. We then see the pivot into Pidgeot. The opponent obviously doesn't imagine we've got Aerial Ace. What a surprise, trainer. Have an Aerial Ace to the face. Aerial Ace secures the knockup back out. Comes Magnezone. Pidgeot going to commit to the double resisted Brave Bird. Shadow on Shadow Crime. This move will not look double resisted. Magnezone left deep into the red. Speaking of resisted damage, Swampert has very quickly found itself in Wild Charge range. King going to burn the final Protect Shield. Respecting the Wild Charge, the opponent full send. Then pivot into Salazzle. The opponent triple weak to Swampert. They fucked about and they found out the goat isn't a myth. It's still alive and well. Heading into the next battle, we lead Shadow Swampert into Pikachu Libre. What a flex. The opponent safe switches into Dugong and we don't have any great answer. King just going to YOLO the Sludge Wave. Does the opponent respect the damage? Sludge Wave lands for big damage, putting it into a range where Froslass can handle it. Froslass can tank 2 drill runs, but the issue is if we do tank 2, we open up the door for the opponent to make a play at taking switch advantage. You can see we're left deep into the reds. The opponent could shield up the Shadow Ball and look to Ice Shard farm down. King over farms, maximises energy, fires off the Shadow Ball. The opponent not interested in switch advantage. Shadow Ball secures the knockout back out. Comes Pikachu and is instantly greeted with the Avalanche to the face. Avalanche near one shots. The opponent instantly pivot out into Cresselia and Cresselia is greeted with the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon lands for a very solid chip damage. King then farms up and makes a savage Grass Knot catch onto Pidgeot. What a play. With both trainers still having 2 Protect Shields in play, I see 0 win con for the opponent. King just happy to go for Aerial Aces and the opponent is forced to start shielding. However, as the opponent has so little fast move pressure, King doesn't need to respect this move as Swampert would easily be able to clean up. The opponent tries their luck at baiting with the Grass Knot. King says, not today, trainer. Fires off the Aerial Ace, forcing the final Protect Shield. The opponent then looks to catch an Aerial Ace onto Pikachu. King holds his energy, wing attack farms down, leaves with the Brave Bird. And the opponent, once again, is going to concede the match. Very well played. In the next battle, we see Cantonian Ninetales. It's a no thank you from the opponent and a save switch into Shadow Gator. King just goes for the Hydro Cannon chip damage. This is resisted, but it doesn't look like it. We then save switch into Pidgeot. Of course, switch advantage is paramount, so I imagine we respect the potential Ice Beam. The opponent fires off the Hydro Cannon. However, this is only a Hydro Cannon. So good shield usage there, as the opponent would be unable to bait and reach an Ice Beam. So the only opportunity they had was throwing it the first time. King respects the damage. The opponent sends back out Ninetales. We full send the Brave Bird. Speaking of damage, the opponent shows no respect. Get that Ninetales off my screen. Shadow Pidgeot, not wanting Swampert to run away, with all the highlights of the video, gets in on the big boom action. The opponent's final Pokemon is a 2-shielded Dugong. The opponent fires off the Drill Run. We easily withstand the damage. The King then throws 4 Powder Snows and the Shadow Ball for optimal fast move timing, forcing the first Protect Shield. King then throws the next charge move on alignment. He was attempting to CMP tie the opponent, and to be honest, I don't dislike that play, as Froslass was now in a range where the opponent could potentially throw an Icy Wind, lower our attack, meaning the Shadow Ball would do less damage. King now finds himself in somewhat of a tricky spot. Where do you burn the final shield? He's putting it all on Froslass. Back out comes the Ice Queen. Froslass able to reach the Shadow Ball before it inevitably debuffed with the Icy Wind. Shadow Ball rocks Dugong deep into the red. The opponent gonna return fire with the Icy Wind. There's gonna be a race to the charge move. Froslass able to win the race, reaching the double resisted Avalanche, but from this range it's going to be more than enough to pick up the dub. Very close game. GG's to both trainers. Heading into the next battle, Swampert into Shadow Gligar. A very nice lead, although with 2 Protect Shields too high behind, these wing attacks do start chunking. Swampert takes the initiative, fires off the Hydro Cannon, forcing us early shield advantage. King happy to match Protect Shields. The opponent actually full send a dig, which is a huge shield. Swampert then farms up, fires off the Hydro Cannon on the CMP tie. Hydro Cannon goes unshielded, getting the knockout. The opponent then send out Mantine. King happy to stay in, fire off the Sludge Wave. And if the opponent don't know about our Sludge Wave coverage, they just found out. Sludge Wave, despite not getting same type attack bonus, puts the opponent below half health, and we get the charge attack priority. Holy, the opponent's final Pokemon is Chandelure. King probably crapping his pants thinking, I need to get this thing out of here, as Frostlass would get deleted in the blink of an eye. The opponent for some reason continued to farm up energy, allowing Pidgeot to reach the next Aerial Ace. So luckily our Frostlass completely avoids Chandelure, and to be honest it looks like it's going to avoid even entering the battlefield. If we land the Aerial Ace, and Pidgeot is going to sweep the back line with Frostlass having a nice chill on the bench. GG's and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see some Shadow on Shadow crime. Poliwrath going to be punching through Swampert. So we say switch into Pidgeot, and we are hard punished by Dewgong. King farms up, full sends the Brave Bird. Does the opponent respect the damage? Brave Bird goes unshielded. The opponent looking for the Ice Shard farm down, but Pidgeot, not afraid of any Ice type, able to fire off the Aerial Ace, forcing a Protect Shield and getting Dewgong onto quite literally a sliver of HP. Pidgeot putting in so much work. King sends out Frostlass, anticipating the opponent, instant throwing the Icy Wind, which they do. We actually got denied coming in, so if that Powder Snow knocks out, we would have actually not needed to tank the next charge move. Luckily for us, it doesn't make all that much difference, as that Powder Snow was not lethal. We're getting a huge amount of weak connection. Out comes Ninetales, we fire off the Shadow Ball. We then see the Simul swap of Swampert into Poliwrath, and things are not looking great. I said at the start of the battle, the opponent is going to punch through us, and they're actually running Power Up Punch. King looking to YOLO the Sludge Wave, which essentially is our only win con. The opponent shields it up, and King is going to concede the match. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see Swampert into Cresselia. I think 99.9% of Cresselias will have Grass Knot, and it's double super effective, and Swampert doesn't survive one, despite Cresselia having a non-existent attack stat. However, speaking of which, King manages to get himself out of a tricky spot, making a very nice catch, catching the Grass Knot onto Pidgeot. Once again, Pidgeot is hard punished by Steelix. King YOLOs the Brave Bird. Brave Bird lands for so much damage. Pidgeot is actually going to force a Protect Shield or take switch. The opponent shows no respect to the next Brave Bird. Get that Steelix out of here. Pidgeot is a Steelix counter confirmed. Shadow Brave Bird is just such a good move. Holy crap, that was some damage. I'm quite surprised to see King send back out Swampert. I think I personally would have realigned, but we're going to let King cook. We shield up the Grass Knot, return fire with the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon forces a Protect Shield back, but the opponent already at the next Grass Knot, and King has now put himself all shields down. I smell a catch incoming, but King has other ideas. He fires off the Hydro Cannon on the CMP tie. The opponent could of course shield this up and take us out with a Grass Knot, but the opponent actually saving their final Protect Shield for Shadow Charizard, and Shadow Charizard, much like Swampert, one of the most ruthless closers of them all. King tries his luck and making a Dragon Claw catch onto Frostlass, no such luck. The opponent farm up to the double Blast Burn. They cook Frostlass to an absolute crisp, leave with the second Blast Burn, vanquishing Swampert back to their Pokeball. Very, very good energy management from that opponent. GG's. In the next battle, we see yet more Shadow on Shadow crime. The opponent running one of my favourite Pokemon, Shadow Gal. King farms up, fires off the Hydro Cannon, forcing us early shield advantage. The opponent looking to bait a potential Energy Ball. Although let's not kid ourselves, even a lunge will be enough from this range. Huh? The opponent actually bait with a Cross Poison. What a savage. King forces the final Protect Shield with the Hydro Cannon, then makes a very nice catch of what should be a lunge onto Frostlass. The opponent fire off yet another Cross Poison, and they get the boost. What is going on? The opponent finally reveal their second move. They're running Cross Poison and Lunge. What a spicy move set. I personally would run Lunge and either Energy Ball or Discharge, but this opponent has rode the boost, and this spider is now getting out of hand. King sends back out Swampert. Luckily, we don't get Cross Poison baited once again. The opponent forces our final Protect Shield, then send out the Quagman. In the Battle of the Mud Boys, Swampert is going to come out victorious. King actually makes a very heads-up play, leaving a sliver of HP on the Quagman, wanting to get some farm on Pidgeot. Pidgeot comes in, gets a one-wing attack, running start. The opponent's final Pokemon is Gligar. A full Shadow team from the opponent. Pretty close to my team, actually. I was just running Sableye instead of Gligar. King maximizes energy, over farms, fires off the Brave Bird. Brave Bird, of course, going to be massive overkill. Although with a lowered defense, one-wing attack is going to take us out. GG's and well played to both trainers. In the next battle, we see yet more Mudboy on Mudboy action. Of course, I do call Shadow Swampert the GOAT, but I'm a huge fan of Shadow Quag. I think the Aqua Tail Stone Edge combination on the Quagman make it a phenomenal safe switch. Now that the Quagman has access to Aqua Tail, it's even spammier than Swampert. Swampert to Hydro Cannon takes 10 turns, 8 turns, then 10 turns, whereas the Quagman is straight 8, meaning it is so fast to these charge moves. King lands the Hydro Cannon, then pivots into Pidgeot, looking to make a catch to the Aqua Tail. The opponent then send out Gligar. King full sending the Brave Bird, does the opponent. Respect the damage, Brave Bird. Yet another big boom. Get that Gligar out of here. The opponent's Quagsire is nothing more than a third shield. The opponent send out their third, which is Mantine. King fires off the Aerial Ace, perhaps looking to CMP tie the opponent. The opponent actually not willing to play any of them silly games, just commit to the full wing attack farm down. King sends out Frostlass, then looks to make a catch onto Swampert. The catch is unsuccessful, but the opponent is forced to throw anyway. Back out comes Frostlass, and King now needs to be wary that the opponent might try their luck at returning the favour of making a catch. The opponent fires off the Aerial Ace. The opponent doesn't make the catch. Avalanche will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. King gonna have to burn the final Protect Shield, blocking up the incoming Aerial Ace. The opponent then does look to make the catch onto Quagsire. Quagsire makes the last second Aqua Tail. Is Aqua Tail enough to knock out? No! The Aqua Tail buff this season very much helping the opponent as they do pick up the dub. Heading into their next battle, we see the battle of the ground types very much in Swampert's favour. Well, perhaps that isn't strictly true, as our mud shots are double resisted. However, the Hydro Cannon lands for massive damage, whereas the opponent can only hit us for neutral. We actually pivot into our hard counter of Frostlass. We absorb the dig. Our Frostlass save switch is then answered by Feraligatr. King full sends the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball forces the protection. The opponent is going to get a massive Shadow Claw farm down. The opponent is now down both Protect Shields, and we've got two absolute nuke monsters. King actually sends back out Swampert, using it to absorb some energy. The opponent fires off the Hydro Cannon, and it's now down to 2 Shield Pidgeot to 1v3 the team. King looks to fire off the Aerial Ace, but unfortunately we lose CMP. King burns the first Protect Shield, blocking the incoming Hydro Cannon. Aerial Ace does secure the knockout, despite being a shit move. Shadow and Shadow Crime, it is enough to get the job done. Back out comes Gligar. King gonna burn the final Protect Shield, blocking an incoming Aerial Ace. King now looking to overfarm. We do survive one Aerial Ace. We're going to need whatever's in the back to be so weak to Pidgeot. King maximizes energy, fires off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace from this range will secure the knockout. The opponent's final Pokemon is Ferrothorn. Is this playable? That's one Bullet Seed. As long as the opponent doesn't have Mirror Shot, I think we win. The opponent doesn't have Mirror Shot. We're able to outpace to the Brave Bird, and Pidgeot 1v3s the team. Very nicely done. GG's, and thanks for playing. I personally would run either Flash Cannon or Thunder if I was to run Ferrothorn, although I have shoutcast numerous battles where people are running Mirror Shot. In the next battle, we see a dreadful lead, 2 Grass Answers in the back, so we save switch into Frostlass, and we're met by fucking Stinky Binky. Although, to be honest, we'd much rather see it on Frostlass than Pidgeot. The opponent looking for the full Rock Throw farm down, which allows us to make the double Shadow Ball, leaving Stinky Binky in the red. My god, do I want to see Swampert land a Sludge Wave on Superior. Please, King. Please do it for us all. Swampert going to respect the potential Moonblast. The opponent falls in the Moonblast, which is going to get Swampert a massive Mud Shot farm down. Come on, Trainer. Send out Superior. Send it out. We've got Earthquake. I promise. I promise, Trainer, it's Earthquake. The opponent actually not wanting to risk it for a biscuit. Send out Dugong. Dugong is greeted with the Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave lands for some decent chip damage. King now just looking to get off some more chip with the resisted Hydro Cannon, forcing a Protect Shield. This Dugong's a bit too healthy for our Pidgeot to handle, so King shields up the Icy Wind. I imagine the opponent is going to look to pivot at some stage. They actually continue to stay in, so King able to reach the Hydro Cannon, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Pidgeot now has a lot of work ahead of itself. The opponent fires off the Icy Wind, securing the knockout. We send out Pidgeot. We need to be mindful the opponent might look to make the catch. However, the opponent doesn't make that catch. Pidgeot fires off the Aerial Ace, securing the knockout. Back out comes Superior, and there literally is nothing the opponent can do. Superior, you're not a grass type, snakes do not fly, Aerial Ace isn't going to get the job done, but a Brave Bird to the face certainly will. Get wrecked, GG's, and thanks for playing. I'll be honest, I was very surprised the opponent didn't look to catch the Aerial Ace onto Superior, but it is what it is. In the next battle, we see Swampert into Stinky Binky, what a lead. The opponent continues to stay in. King can actually reach double Hydro Cannon before the opponent even reaches a Moonblast. The first Hydro Cannon gets the opponent below half health. King then fires off back to back. The opponent completely sacked the butt plug and then send out Cresselia. The opponent clearly has something else weak to Swampert, so King banks a boatload energy, tries to catch a Grass Knot onto Pidgeot, and the opponent sends out Marowak. Pidgeot is going to double resist both Bone Club and Shadow Bone. The opponent can only really hit us with the fast move pressure. We full send the Brave Bird, securing the knockout. Back out comes Cresselia, and the opponent doesn't want the smoke, and they're going to concede the match. Heading into the next battle. What a dreadful lead. We're going to say switch into Frostlass, and the opponent responds with Mandibuzz. This actually isn't the worst matchup for us. King farms up, fires off the Avalanche, a very disciplined time in Avalanche, forces a Protect Shield. I think best case scenario here, you'd look to get all shields down and then potentially Sludge Wave that Vic. King throws one Powder Snow and the next Avalanche, continuing to throw at disciplined timing, and the opponent is now all shields down. King happy to match Protect Shield. The opponent continues to masturbate with the Aerial Aces, which essentially is about as bad as it can get, as the opponent can now outpace to the Dark Pulse. Oof, we're so far behind in this battle. King now sends back out Swampert. The opponent isn't even in Hydro Cannon range either, so we're actually going to have to throw two moves at this annoying Vulture. King tanks the Dark Pulse, fires off the first Hydro Cannon, which isn't lethal, then see the pivot into Pidgeot, looking to get a run-in start. The opponent just set off an Aerial Ace and then send out Poliwrath. There is no shot. Pidgeot now looking primed to sweep King, throws 7 wing attacks, throws the Brave Bird on the CMP side. Get that Poliwrath out of here. If you bring back out Mandibuzz Trainer, you're getting farmed down. You're going to have to bring out Vic. The opponent sends out the Vulture. The Vulture gets farmed down. Pidgeot leaves with the Brave Bird, and the opponent doesn't want the smoke, and they are out of here. What a win. We see a familiar lead, Swampert into Gligar. Every single Gligar has shielded to this point in the video. I imagine this one also does, and luckily they do, as we miss some bubbles, but to be honest, it still would have done ridiculous damage. We say switch into Frostlass. The opponent send out Annihilate, evidently a misclick, and they also concede the match. My god, are a lot of people not wanting the smoke. In the final battle of today's video, we see Swampert into Mew. What is this game state? How many frame drops can you have, Niantic? Please fix this fucking game. We've managed to get 22 minutes in without me complaining how bad the game is, so let's try and get through the remainder of the video. The opponent chip us with a serve and then set out Ferrothorn. The opponent baits with the Paddle Whip, but unlike this opponent, King YOLO in the Brave Bird goes unshielded, securing the knockout. Back out comes Mew. Despite us triple lowering our own defense with the Brave Bird, these Shadow Claws are still doing absolutely nothing, as Ghost is double resisted by our normal sub-typing. The opponent actually showed huge cojones, as King did farm up to the Brave Bird the first time before baiting Mew with the Aerial Ace. We did manage to force a protection with the next Aerial Ace. Surf takes us out. King then sends out Swampert, immediately fires off the Hydro Cannon, securing the knockout. The opponent's final Pokemon is Sableye. Hydro Cannon should be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. We then pivot into Frostlass, and the opponent, recognising the game's over, also going to concede the match for about the 15th time in the video. GG's, and thanks for playing. Huge shout out to my friend King GBL for submitting today's battles, showing the power of the GOAT Shadow Swampert, and to be fair, the phenomenal power of Shadow Pidgeot. These two form a formidable core, so if you're looking to have some fun and get through battles quickly, give this core a try for yourself. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. The link to our battle submission form is down below, and as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.